Hello, Alex. I hope you're doing well. It's now my turn again, and I will be talking about the 2001 computer music album Talking Drum by Chris Brown. Oh, no, not that Chris Brown. Don't worry, this one is much more boring. Actually, when it came to finding anything at all about this Chris Brown, I kind of just gave up because it's all drowned in a sea of this total piece of shit. The Spotify page is also kind of a mess. It's peppered with some of this Chris Brown stuff, and some of this Chris Brown stuff, who I'm pretty sure is different from the Talking Drum Chris Brown, because his stuff sounds like this,
Daydreaming in my room.
and Talking Drum Chris Brown stuff sounds like this. Whatever the case may be, there is a Chris Brown that worked on the album Talking Drum, and that is who and what we're talking about. Talking Drum is a compilation of binaural audio recordings from around the world. The tracks include audio of various things from various places, such as market districts in the Philippines, traditional Balinese funeral processions in Bali, and even Chris's own art shows in California. It is incredibly experimental. The only tracks that have any real defined melody or rhythm make up about 16 minutes of the hour 12 runtime, none of which were made by Chris himself. And because of that, this was honestly kind of a difficult listen for me. Nowhere near as difficult as that one, but still pretty unpleasant. If we were to only look at the tracks I didn't actively dislike, we would go from all this down to this. The reason these tracks are so grating to me is similar to the reason that you were not the biggest fan of free jazz. These are the aforementioned art show tracks, and they involve several musicians scattered around a space, all improvising on their own. They're also joined by Chris's computer-generated polyrhythms, which is where the computer aspect comes in. Alex, you were incredibly nice with how you talked about your free jazz album, saying that it was avant-garde and not for you, and you chose to not make a judgment call. With Talking Drum's computer music tracks, I just have no idea what context I could be missing to make this an enjoyable experience. My best guess as to the intent of these tracks is for them to recreate the sounds of the field recordings peppered throughout the album, much like an actual talking drum recreates the sound of human speech with its rhythms and pitches. However, while I was able to enjoy being taken to different places with the field recordings, Chris Brown's tracks just made me frustrated. A slight positive to that fact is that when they were over, I was relieved, and I could just sit and listen to audio of frogs in a drainage ditch. Listening to 6 minutes of this made listening to 6.5 minutes of this honestly kind of pleasant because it wasn't as nauseatingly busy. Was this Chris Brown's intent in including these tracks when he compiled the album? I have no idea. All I know is that the songs that sound like the background music that you would hear during a bad acid trip comprise about half of the album. All this being said, I did still enjoy some of the tracks, those being the ones that are a part of Yoruba religious traditions, Mariwo chant and Chango, the one from the Balinese funeral procession called Cremation Procession Downbeat, as well as Rumba Quinto and Rumba Kata. Talking Drum did give me a nice excuse to read about some things I wouldn't normally read about, such as what is actually involved in a Balinese funeral ceremony, and how Yoruba, a West African religion, merged with Roman Catholicism to form the faith of Santeria. I'd still rather learn about those things without the inclusion of computer-generated polyrhythms. Taking all of this into consideration, I will be giving Talking Drum by Chris Brown a 2 out of 5, which feels weird because I didn't necessarily hate listening to it. I'm just very confident I won't listen to any of it ever again. That's all. Looking forward to your video next week.